This tweet annoys me probably more than it should, but it's fucking pissed me off. And I think it leads into a whole rant here of problems with Mortal Kombat. Why Mortal Kombat 1? I'm going to be calling it Mortal Kombat 12 for the sake of convenience because that's awkward as fuck. And why the whole premise does not work, why it's pointless. And one significant change with this game are the cameo fighters. Choose from a unique roster of cameo fighting partners to assist you in battle. Basically, turn Mortal Kombat to an assist fighter, which nobody has asked for. Literally, nobody asked for this. Nobody wanted this. And I think this idea will fail. Just simply fail. We don't say anything about it, but the concept alone does not work for Mortal Kombat. You want to know how to evolve franchise from just generic 2D fighter? We had that drastic evolution, drastic shift fucking years ago, over 2 decades ago now, with the 3D era, which Mortal Kombat 9 and stupid NRS, they undid all that. Literally all of it. And yes, a while back I made an entire list compiling the changes and reductions that Mortal Kombat 9 or MK vs. DC made. That just removed so much and killed the 3D era. And with 3D era, if they had stuck with it, we wouldn't have problems like zoning issues in every single fucking NRS game that everyone hates. Wanna know why? Because there's 3D movement. The stages would actually be interactive still. You know, there was an insane amount of fighting stars. You know, like the core gameplay, the old breaker system is much better than the meter system. Like, fundamentally, the meter system is dog shit. The whole super move stuff is gimmicky as fuck, and nobody likes it. Yeah, I mean, just look how much is removed here. Just so much. I'm not going through the whole list, but it's insane. And then you even have stuff reduced, like the reduced content category. Stage selection. There are less stages than Armageddon and Deception, even though those stages have more interactivity than any other stages in the fucking franchise. And then you've got reduced roster size and roster variety for that matter. It's just a trilogy bunch. It is insane how much the franchise fell off, and then people are like, oh, MK9 good, MK9 good, I like the gameplay. The gameplay, you get like 6 fucking combo strings per character. Their movesets are bland as fuck. Like, okay, here's the additions or returning content that came with MK9. Most of it's not even a positive thing. Tag teams are the only good thing, which we might see return here with the whole assist fire thing. Or at least, you know, there'll be something on that level. But yeah, this just won't work. This and a unique roster is not good because no one wants their characters to come back as literally just an assist. You know, a cameo. Like that's the most insulting part. The name of it, a cameo. And I'm supposed to care if a character becomes a cameo? Because Ed Boon doesn't care if your character becomes a cameo. In fact, this tweet, this reply, shows that, you know, your project lead, the head of NRS or whatever, he is literally saying that it's a bad thing if your favorite character is a cameo. What the fuck is the appeal of this feature? If even your project lead is dogging on it, it's so fucking worthless. And it's going to be even more annoying because that unique roster of cameo fighting partners here, that's probably going to have a better, more diverse roster than the base roster because it's going to have all the reject characters, which will be like 3D era characters and whatnot. Even then, I still don't think it'll be a great roster. If we look at the current combat pack leaks from that were leaked by Amazon in Italy, I think. The cameo fights only actually have one 3D era character, and it's Bravado. And Bravado's cool as fuck. I'm just gonna say, oh, he should just be a cameo. He has been gone since 2006. That's coming closer to 2 decades now. And you're telling me a grand return for such an underappreciated character should be as a cameo, which we don't know the extent of it, but it's not going to be much. It's obviously not going to be much, judging by the name, judging by Ed Boon's snarky little fucking tweet there. It's not going to be anything substantial. They're probably not going to have much dialogue, if any. And if you're going to be a DLC one, you're not going to be in the story. The other cameo fights might not even be in the story either. I don't know. I feel it's an opportunity to have a much wider pool of characters for the story. But again, NOS storytelling is dog shit, I don't think any concept with this game is good, from the premise to this. And obviously we don't know much about the game, but when this is the thing they're talking about, this is like their notable addition, right? And it's just not good. It's not what anyone wanted. It might act as a solution for people wanting 3D era characters, because that crowd of people is constantly growing because they are good characters. Fundamentally, there is nothing wrong with any of the characters. People are just biased, or they suck off the devs because they haven't been back for years, and they're around an era where most of these idiots weren't even playing, and they don't even understand the lore. Someone who hates Suhao, right? Ask them anything about their lore, they will get it wrong. True Underdog Gaming got his lore wrong. He got Dairu's lore wrong, saying he's some strong man or something. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about in that context. No clue. And people take content creators like him. They take dev people comments like Ed Boon's. People take them seriously, and it's fucking pathetic. It's so daft how this is our solution to constant dog shit rosters. It's not going to fix the roster. And in fact, we might get a reduction in regularly playable characters if they've been focusing on the cameos, because the cameos have to at least be a similar amount to the base roster, or else why would you have a unique roster? Also, we've seen from the Kombat pack, they confirm themselves that it will have 5 cameo characters, paid DLC. So maybe there's something of substance there, but I really doubt it. And it's just a cash grab because, it's the name of a character people like. And I will be amused if Movado is paid DLC, because it shows that they think he's valuable. They gotta fucking admit that. But the other picks are Pharaoh, Tremor, Kimi, and then just some old versions of Johnny Cage. Johnny aside, that's a really interesting group of characters. Also Pharaoh, literal child. I think it shows that the assists won't be doing much. It's just no one asked for this, and it does not solve the roster issue. It really doesn't. It's not the same thing, and it's just a mindless inclusion. It doesn't matter at all. As far as I'm concerned, they could function literally just like the assists in Towers of Time, like the ones of the actual characters. Sector and Cyrax had one, So if you want an example, go off of those two, and their inclusion as NPC assists does nothing. It means nothing. No one cares about. You probably don't even remember that's a thing. And I'm sure it'll be a bit more than just that, where you just move on the right stick a bit, and then they do a special move. But I can't see it being much else. But yeah, I think this is very disappointing news. And then you have this whole story premise. And it all goes back to this fucking guy. Because the amount of just random shit he said already since reveal is insane. He genuinely comes across as senile half the times. Because he'll go on about how, MK11 is a good, MK12. MK12 is a continuation of MK11. Only for in that pointless live stream with Tyler, where they just showed off their shitty little 3D print that doesn't look like it's been completed. For some reason, it's half painted. It's such a weird collector's item. But yeah, in that, he then proceeds to say that MK12 is not a continuation of MK11's story, which is just factually wrong. And I think it shows that Ed Boon doesn't understand storytelling stuff. I don't think that's shocking news. But what might be a bit shocking is that he has creative control over the story. he probably has a lot of creative control. Sean Kittleson, in an interview, confirmed that for MK11 they had to pass ideas through Ed Boon, and he denied a lot of like a much better premise. It wasn't a perfect one that Sean Kittleson had, but it was much better than the time travel shit. And if he had approved of that, we wouldn't even be looking at another reboot right now. We really wouldn't. And it's really crazy. Because what he wanted some unpredictability. And you want to know what's been talked about for this game and its new setting? How it's going to have a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of surprises. Again, unpredictability. This guy keeps wanting unpredictability, regardless of how much sense it makes. That's what he wants. And he was never the story guy. That was always John Tobias. Then it shifted over to John Vogel. And John Vogel still works at NRS. He's still there. And he's probably the most knowledgeable guy on MK Story who has ever worked on MK. Why does he not have a say in this? I'm sure he's busy because he has more. He's probably done more jobs, like more roles for MK than anyone else, who's obviously busy with stuff. But it just doesn't make sense. And especially now, where it's just Dominic on the writing team. That is concerning. And that's really concerning. Because it's Dominic and Ed Boon. And Ed Boon thinks Dominic knows the lore better than anyone else. I can assure you, I know the lore better than Dominic. Most fans, well, I wouldn't say most, but a good chunk is going to know the lore better than Dominic. A lot of people who work at NRS are probably going to know the lore better than the paid writer. And most people know the lore better than Ed Boon. So why is Ed Boon approving ideas? He has actively got a stranglehold over the franchise and a unique idea because they have to filter through this fucking idiot and his and his boomer takes. I'm not behind the scenes, and I'm glad I'm not. I don't want to work at NRS and get abused, but video on that's happening soon because NRS is a toxic fucking company, and they were called out for MK11, said they do a private investigation. Whenever you publicly announce that, though, you're supposed to provide an update. They never provide an update. They just waited for it to go quiet. And I'm sure we'll get more news about him being toxic with this game. Wouldn't surprise me. But that's a separate topic. There's so much to rant about as is in this video, so that needs its own dedicated video. But yeah, I'm behind the scenes, but from what I've heard, the fact he has creative control and just the shit he says on Twitter, I have to conclude that he is not offering much of value to this franchise anymore. I really don't think he is. I think he should retire. I think we need someone else in charge, maybe. I just think there needs to be more creative freedom for the people who work on these games anyway, because it's such a limitation, And then you'll get these ridiculous premises, probably because Ed Boon's the guy who has to approve of the premises, and all he cares about is, how can we shake things up? Oh yeah, call it Mortal Kombat 1. Do another reboot. Yeah, you're really shaking it up there. And another thing about the story, the premise for this game. I do a whole tangent on the specifics on it and why it doesn't work. But Edwin also talked about how a lot of versions will change, and I'm sure Raiden will be one of them, unless it's the same as the first NRS timeline one. Otherwise, he will just be a guy called Raiden. Taking away Raiden's mortality is the fastest way to kill his character. There's no reason for it. Last time I checked, Raiden is the God of Thunder. Not some fucking guy. Not just some dude who no one recognized in the trailer. Because it's not the same character at all. But another one that he literally confirmed in another interview is that Melina's original will change. And he had the goal to say that people will be angry at these changes. A lot of people will be angry at these changes. But give it a few years and people will accept that they're better origins. Imagine being that egotistical to think that you and Dominic's new fucking everything, that you think all these changes to fundamental backstory lore that we've had since the 90s, you have the goal to think that your replacements for something that didn't need fixing because it wasn't broke, and they have the goal to say that theirs is better. I don't believe that, because we've gone through 3 games of NRS now, and they've all been dog shit with the story. So why change? Why change? And people think, well, it's time for a reboot, they can fix their fuck-ups. There's been no changes behind the scenes except negative ones, because not as only Dominic and the writing thing, and Ed Boon seems to have more input in the story than ever, because Dominic literally confirmed at this timeline is Ed Boon's vision, pretty much. Which, yikes, I don't want to see that. And yeah, people are saying, well, yeah, it's a hard reboot now. It's not a hard reboot. As a writer, let me explain to you what soft and hard reboots actually fucking mean, because people don't understand it. Because I've seen people in comments who've replied to me and they've been like, well, it looks like a hard reboot. How does this look like a hard reboot? They have a character from the previous timeline. So a soft reboot, right? The prime example is this game, and it sure didn't work in this game. And a soft reboot is you are resetting, you are rebooting, of course. So what a regular reboot would be, you are restarting a story. But the difference with a soft reboot compared to a hard reboot is that the soft reboot, you keep the continuity from the previous one. For example, the dog shit intro of this game starts with Armageddon and the ending, and then Raiden just happens to have an amulet. And then he somehow sends visions to himself, some of which aren't even canon, they're from non-canon endings. And then, yeah, we're back to the tournament. So you kept in mind the previous game, and because it's a time travel story, actually. Even the blurb of MK9 says you travel back in time. This was never actually a different timeline. This is just the same one. And the whole premise was Raiden has to change events so that Armageddon doesn't happen. And it revolves around Shao Kahn, even though Shao Kahn is not the cause for Armageddon. Nor was he supposed to be the winner, because Onaga actually bites his head off in the intro. So they straight up retconned Armageddon to get to this premise in the first place. Then the whole thing is go back in time and Raiden has to change story events. By the way, the Raiden we have now is completely different to MK1 Raiden. MK1 Raiden's reasoning for being at the tournament and like his old lore, completely different to what we have now. So even if we went all the way back to MK1, it would still be contradicting Raiden himself. And yeah, so and this amulet never existed before. That's another one. We don't know how he went back in time either. Doesn't make sense at all. None of it does. So it's already a dogshit premise on that front. But then the thing with this is Raiden's got to change events so that a different outcome can happen, a better outcome. But look around, Raiden. Shit's already different. I don't remember the cyber characters being at the tournament. I don't remember Scarlet existing at all. And I'm not saying like this roster, this cast of tournament characters is a bad one, but because it's not as bad than just having the MK17. But here's the thing: you set it up as a soft reboot where you travel back in time. You can't just change shit then. That's a big issue. Now, to be fair, with Mortal Kombat 1, it's not the same times. It's intentionally supposed to be a different universe. Stuff is supposed to be different inherently because it's Liu Kang's shitty little vision. But it's still a soft reboot, still counts as a soft reboot because you're following up on MK11, which ended with Liu Kang resetting the timeline. This is a continuation of MK11. Fundamentally, Ed Boon is objectively wrong. He's just outright not right. He's wrong. It's so dumb. But yes, technically, with this premise, then changes are more logical because not like time travel. So it means changes now, they don't actually count as retcons per se, but you are completely changing the law. So it's the equivalent of a retcon. you know. It's just less outrageous because you're not actively contradicting the law because stuff is meant to be different in this timeline. Problem is, that's a shit idea. Don't change the law because there was nothing wrong with the law in the first place until NRS themselves fucked it all up with MK9. So we're just going to have them fuck up another timeline. Because the thing is, everything we've seen so far, everything we're suspecting so far, it's not change for the better, it's change for the sake of change because they've done the same shit over and over and over again. But they don't want to change their cast of characters. So they do shit like this. And it's just really bad. It doesn't even work for a hero to be in control of the timeline stuff. You know? But, I mean, the whole point was Salmon Chronica from resetting. Then Fire God Liu Kang just said, hey, fuck it, I'm going to reset anyway. Like, there was no reason for him to even reset the timeline. I don't know what the age thing is, but the Hourglass can rewind stuff anyway. So, yeah. Kind of pointless. And I've literally seen theories that Liu Kang is the main villain because he comes across as an asshole. In that trailer, he's like fucking aggressive as fuck. Says like the most Dark Raiden line. If you defy peace and you choose war with a god or some shit. Then, like, that is such a Dark Raiden line. That's the most Dark Raiden line NRS has even done. It's fucking weird. And then also there's the fact that in Aftermath, he literally lets Shang Tsung become overpowered as fuck just to prank him. He doesn't care about all the people he puts in harm's way because, well, I'm just going to reset the timeline anyway. So it doesn't matter if he's got his suffering. It's only temporary. Fucking weird. Very weird. I don't like the character. It's not Liu Kang. It just isn't, you know. And yeah, I have no interest in this premise because it'll just be ridiculous. After changing the origins were never the problem, you know. The backstory stuff or origin stuff, not a problem for a single character, at least conceptually. I think some backstories hold characters back. For example, Rain, ever since Armageddon, they've been using the lore that he is a son of Argus, but they do nothing with the idea, so it just becomes his entire character. It consumes him, and they do nothing with the idea. So, frankly, he'd be better off with different origins. But that does not mean that being a son of Argus is a bad direction for the character. They just have never done it right. Another thing that is probably different is Scorpion's origins. He's not going to be the angry revenge man, which is on one hand good because we don't have to deal with that shit again. But on the other hand, it's bad because there was nothing wrong with that backstory in the first place. Changing that is fundamentally not true to his character. You're just getting a different character there. And yeah, and if the subject we see there is the Grandmaster already, then you're fucking with a ton of Lin Kuei lore. How do you even get the cyborgs in that context? Not to mention all the like history that goes like before that. Like, yeah, it's just you're playing with fire. You really are. There's literally decades of lore for this old universe that they are trying to replace. That's what it is. This is a replacement. And I don't know if you've noticed over the past decade, but NRS isn't good at retelling shit. They're not good at telling you shit either. It's not going to be good. And the main villain, you know, I don't know how that'd be. It comes across as Shang Tsung in the trailer, but now I think about it more, it might not be, but I don't know. People want a Naga. Although if it was a Naga, I feel he'd be the pre-order bonus because Big Bad Boss. So he could, if he is the main villain, he'll just be an NPC, which is just fucking pathetic. Also, they probably went out Shijinko anyway, so lame. Shijinko character should have become a mainstay, but anyway, started to ignore the 3-year characters for no real reason. You often say they're bad, but they're not. Yeah, and the only thing I'm going to see is we'll get a lot of people returning for the first time since 2006 as cameo fights. And I'd say a lot. I don't think it will be that many, actually. We'll get like an obligatory 3D era character on the base roster because we get like one, and it'll probably just be Kenshi again, honestly. I just have no faith in this. when we already know like 9 confirmed characters that all really fucking generic picks. Basically, all of them are mainstays at this point, which is dumb. And because it's called MK1, you know we're going to get all the other MK1 originals and possibly Goro too. Which Goro's cool, of course, but the problem is, where the fuck's Kintaro? Bro has not been playable in a single game besides the Everyone Is Here games, that being Trilogy and Armageddon. It is insane. That guy is a money-making machine. He is a 4-armed cat. You don't get much cooler than Kintaro. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't even want like the characters I like to come back. I think logically they should. Logically, I think there should be a balance between 3D characters and original trilogy characters because they basically have an even 50-50 split. Trilogy is 33 characters. 3DR has 31. Plus MK4. You just kind of jumble MK4 that. I think MK4 counts towards a different era, but it's more simpler to just put that with the 3D characters because there's not much newcomers. And a lot of the newcomers are mistreated like the 3D ones anyway. So, yeah. I know faith in the roster. Cameos are going to suck. We know that. You know, we just know. And in this new timeline, it's going to fumble. Any of the new changes they make, they're not going to be accepted. And fundamentally, they're probably not going to be better. They're really not. I'm not looking forward to seeing Millennium's originals be changed. Because this concept of being a clone of Katana, spliced with Katana DNA, made Shang Tsung's flesh pits, that's been around since MK2, that lore. That's the only thing they did right with the character. Her concept, her backstory. And MK9 already changed that because she's like created during MK2 instead of just being raised, upbrought alongside Katana. She just kind of shows up in MK2, section of MK9. It's really bad. It's really bad. How they just keep fucking up the character. MK actually, she has an interesting role, you know. With the whole rebellion trying to restore Dania. That's cool. MK12 might be good because we see Katana Millennia as allies. But Millennia's going to betray her, isn't she? If not, then she's just a completely different character. They have to change her origins because clones aren't real people. Just play what they think. And they'll make her like a biological sister somehow. That's my prediction. We don't know her new origins yet. We just know that her origins are different. According to Ed Boon. Ed Boon could just be wrong. Like, that's entirely possible. Ed Boon could just be chatting out his ass. And I think that's also just 100% possible. You know, I think Ed Boon's word means very little. You know. But he just gets so much stuff wrong, as we've already seen, as I've already discussed. So yeah, this game, Mortal Kombat 12, not looking forward to it. Really not. I'm going to go back to play Mortal Kombat Deception, Mortal Kombat 6, because everything after that fucking blows. Okay, no, Armageddon's cool. That's about it. Yeah, thanks for watching this rant video. I have more complaints about this game to come, I'm sure, as we learn more. And as we learn more, I will probably continue to feel justified. You know, like oh, don't judge it so soon. The point of a trailer, a point of a reveal, is to judge the reveal. You know? And just by the history and the rest, this is not looking good. So yeah, that is all from me today. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.